So this is session 4 of our series on true freedom. And I'm looking here at experiences and habit patterns that can restrict us. Sometimes an experience that we've had will stop us from doing the same thing ever again. For example, we may have done a talk at school and we mucked it up a bit and the other kids laughed at us, and now as an adult we simply can't get up in front of a group of people to do a presentation of any sort. Maybe we were bullied at school and now someone just has to say something, and it could be quite innocent, but we see it as a criticism, and we might respond in anger, or we might do the opposite and just crawl into our shell. Maybe we've had a bad anaesthetic, like we came out of the anaesthetic really sick, and so we now have a fear of having to have surgery, to the point where we won't even go to the doctor even though we know we're probably going to need something done. That's extreme, but that's how far some people will go. We can also have an unhealthy attachment to good things. And there are some Christians who'll tell you of a wonderful experience they had of God back in 1998. And there's nothing wrong with that great experience, but the problem is they keep living back there and they can't see anything else as good as that. They compare everything back there. And so of course they're missing out on what God's doing now. And I have an example of something that had a great hold over me, and that was I hated with a passion the smell of ether. My dad thought that ether was the best solvent you could use, and nothing else would get it off, ether would. So what he'd do is, as soon as I left the house in the morning, 8 o'clock, he would use the ether on what he wanted to. Then he'd open the doors and the windows and air the house out. I'd get home at 4:30 and I just had to open the front door. You've been using ether. I could smell it out and I hated it. Why? I mean, what's wrong with the smell of it? It's a bit like methylated spirits. What's wrong with it? It was only one day when he said to me, you know, you would have had ether as an anaesthetic when you were very little. Now I only have little flash memories of being in hospital. I don't have any memory of being asked to breathe this stuff in. But that's obviously where this hatred came from. And so experiences can have a real hold over us. But we can also get caught in unhealthy habit patterns. So someone points out a mistake that we've made. Well, you might say, oh, thanks, I better correct that. But sometimes the automatic response is self-defense. Or we get really angry and try to blame the other person for the mistake, or at least someone else. What if we don't get our own way on something? What do we do? What's our automatic reaction? Sulk? Go all quiet and play no speaks? Do we manipulate the situation so we can get our own way? When something happens, do we always assume that it must be the worst? When we feel a bit down or a bit lonely, do we head for the fridge or the pantry? These are all habit patterns when we do them just automatically without really thinking. But another one is, do we see ourselves as a victim because we've been mistreated, or because we're poor, or because we just don't have very good health? And some people develop this victim mentality. Poor me, I always get the wrong end of the stick. But then some people can quite enjoy being like that because it gets them other people's attention, other people's pity, and they like that. Or it can be their excuse. Well, I can't really be expected to do so and so because of who I am and what's happened to me. So it's a good idea for us to try and recognise what our habit patterns are, because they are automatic. It's the way we react to things. Now they can be fine, but they can be unhealthy and unhelpful. We need to identify the unhealthy ones and break their hold over us. It's helpful to try and recognise where the particular pattern comes from. Does it come out of hurt? Is it we're responding to a hurt in the past? Or is it something we've just picked up because that's how Dad did it or Mum did it? It may be an experience we need healing from, or it may simply be a wrong attitude and we need to change that attitude. Whichever it is, Jesus wants to bring us freedom, and we can be cut free from these bad experiences or these wrong habit patterns.
Where the dawn